Hi guys, it's part two of Please Believe Isaac Cappy. Um, Let me start by saying life is an illusion and everything isn't what it appears to be. Knowledge is power and fear is false evidence appearing real. That's what fear stands for, false evidence appearing real. We live in a created reality that's created by other people's perceptions. And what we think we see, we really are not seeing what's really there. Um, I would say you'd have to be intuitive and an empath like me to understand what's really going on. I wasn't always like this. I mean, I had a little bit of it growing up. I had a little bit of intuition, a little bit of insight, but not enough to stay out of some of the issues I got into. I always got out of them. I was always protected by God or whatever that power is up there, um, around us, in us, whatever. Anyway, let me just start by saying this is part two of Believe What Isaac Cappy Says. He's not the only one. I mean, there's been Bryce Taylor, there's been Kathy O'Brien, there's been numerous people that have come out and spoken the truth, and I know that it's probably really hard for you to grasp it, and really it sounds too good to be believable. I mean, it sounds too far-fetched. It sounds like it's way out there and there's what the hell are you talking about? This couldn't be happening right under my nose, but it is. And let me kind of talk to anybody who might be in the media, in the entertainment industry, because as I told you in the first video, I grew up around my brother. He was in Laugh-In, he was on Michael Douglas, he was on Ed Sullivan, he was in and out of the studios, and at times I went to meet him there when I was young. They practiced in our living room, the psychedelic era. I wanted to play Incense and Peppermints for you, for those of you who don't know what that is, in the background, but I don't know how to do it with my phone while I'm recording. I would have to have my computer on, I would say. So anyway, I explained to you that I grew up around that spirit. And let me clarify that even though at times I have a real hard time believing that God exists, because why would he just sit back and allow all of this to happen, because so many people are dying and being, well, innocent people are dying and being taken advantage of, and he does nothing to, that entity does nothing to stop it. And I have a real problem with that. And that entity knows I have a problem with it, because I tell God all the time, you made man in your image. Well, if I look at man, if they're anything like you, then you must be pretty damn evil. To just sit back, sadistic, to sit back and just allow this stuff to keep happening continually for years and years and years, because it's been going on since the beginning of time. You know, there's nothing new under the sun. So, yeah, so if you go and you research some of these people, Kathy O'Brien, Bryce Taylor, on the internet, they try to discredit them. And I believe them because I had a glimpse into that world, as I told you the last time. Satanic ritual abuse is real. And just about every, well, I would say every cult out there has a part of it. A part in it. Is part of it. Like I said, in California, in South Coast Fellowship, in Oxnard, there was an Australian family from New Zealand that came in and they were doing a Bible study. They were all deacons, elders, involved with the church, and just so happened to live in the same complex that we lived in. and I ended up getting involved with them. And they were really big on isolating you, making you follow legalism, and then in the end it was flat out abuse, like taking our food away, making us sit in a basement, handcuffing us. I was handcuffed to a banister when I tried to leave, and threatened that if I tried to leave that they would gang up with me, with my ex-husband, and make sure that I was the one who seemed to be at fault. So I should have turned my notifications off. I'm sorry, I just had a notification come in. So anyway, yeah, so it started in a Christian church, and they knew about it, and they did nothing. So a lot of people got hurt, not just our family. And if you read about satanic ritual abuse, they were doing a lot of those things. I won't discuss it here, but I will tell you it was hideous. I was scared to death when I got involved with two of them that were being told what to do by the main person, because they were doing horrible things to the children, not just mine but their own. And at one point I was afraid that the kid was going to die, their son, and I was scared. I didn't want to be a part of that, and I was trapped in it. Like I said, I tried to leave 3 times total. The third time I finally got away, but my ex made sure that I stayed. He came after me and brought me back the first time. The second time, they handcuffed me to the banister, and then the third time I finally got away, and that was with the help of my friend that I've been friends with for 30 years. And if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have had, I mean, I had the wherewithal to get out, but she gave me that extra boost of strength to get out. And then we got out, like I said, he got us right back into another one. They're still all over the world. They're in Florida, they're in Alaska. They started in Colombia, and that started from a Baptist preacher named Sam Fife, and it's called The Move. Look it up. And he was killed in a plane crash many years ago, but they continue to push his teachings. And my ex was still trying to get my kids to follow the teachings, trying to get them to listen to the tapes. And I put a stop to it, of course. And anyway, like I said, they were into waterboarding. They were into mind control big time. They could never control me because I had already gotten out of one and I wasn't going to get back into another. My ex was the one who got us into it. And he's since passed away, so that's not an issue anymore. I divorced him 21 years ago. And anyway, like I said, I've been in and out of people's lives, and what I didn't say in the last video was I have actually experienced being with Masons. Like I told you, I lived with them for a couple of months. And if you research symbolism, please go out there and research it on the internet. I can tell you that conspiracies are not conspiracies. They're very real. I heard these conversations that they had over Skype with fellow Masons and with Templar ties, and you know, they had the garb and the whole 9 yards, the dress, you know, the robes, the whole 9 yards. And I was there trapped with them in Sweden, but because I have divine angels watching over me all the time, I was able to get away from them. But I can tell you the symbolism is real. It's not a joke. When I was in the house with them, on the floor was a black and white, look it up, Masonic symbols. There was a black and white mat under my feet, under the table, where I slept on the couch. And I'm telling you, I was in the middle of Sweden, in the middle of nowhere, didn't know the language, didn't have any cards that I could use to get on and off the bus. Didn't know how to maneuver my way around. Didn't I was stuck in the middle of farmland. So if I had the wherewithal how to do technical stuff, I would show you pictures. Um, but I can tell you, everybody says, oh, it's a conspiracy. I don't believe it. It's not real. Oh, it just simply can't exist. People are making this stuff up. No, they're not. Look at me. I'm nobody. Okay? I've been a film producer, yes, but it was a B-list film. I have spent time in the industry, yes. My brother was famous at one time, yes. True. Very true. But who am I now? I'm just me. And I have a clean record. I have had numerous background checks on me. I have a totally squeaky clean record. There is nothing wrong with me mentally, emotionally, or any other way. People that know me know this and know that I'm stable. The only problems I've had in my life is moving around a lot, but that's okay. I don't have a problem with that. Other people think it's weird, but I don't. So, what I can tell you is this. That black and white map was black and white checkered, okay? What freaks me out is my daughter was doing this silks and there was one underneath her. It's weird. But anyway, it's real. And they were Masons. And they were into witchcraft. And the oppression that was there in that house, I had to stand against it for weeks. I finally broke it off. I finally got rid of the guy who was putting it against me to the point where I just came out and rebuked him flat out because I couldn't take it anymore. I was like getting into a trance. I couldn't stay awake. It was horrible. You know, there was such a heaviness on me. And so I knew what it was because being in the cult, it was the same spiritual, demonic entity, okay? And I stood against it, and he left the house and never came back in the house. I pushed him out with the power of God, using the faith that I have, okay? Praying against it. It finally went away. But I can tell you these men tried to intimidate me. They tried to control me. They wanted to see just how far they could push me. And that was a big mistake. I scared the living hell out of them and found out that they were basically cowards. Because I stood up against them. I'm not afraid because I've already been through that. When I was in that cult, there was oppression on me constantly. My daughter drowned in a hot tub. And God gave her back to me. Whoever he is, whatever it is, in my own faith, he gave her back to me. She was dead in the bottom of a hot tub, and I don't know how long. You think outer limits, passing through a vortex. I experienced this, okay, because of being involved with this cult. They used to use a Gregoric chant, and they used to chant, and they used to come against me constantly. They hated me because I didn't totally believe what they were feeding us, and I kept questioning it. In both cults, really, they both couldn't stand me because I got fed up with their crap. I could see it was demonic and evil, and I wanted no part of it. They didn't like it, that I couldn't be controlled. So anyway, would you please, I'm telling you, please listen to me. Stop talking about conspiracies like they don't exist. Quit calling them conspiracies because they aren't a conspiracy. They're a reality. These people believe this stuff and they practice it. And I can tell you, when I was in that cult, there is an evil entity on this planet. I can tell you that for a fact. Because when they were doing this Gregoric chant, praying, whatever the hell they were doing, they had my kids standing up next to each other. And one of my daughters, my oldest one, literally was thrown across the room by some force. She was standing there with her eyes closed, and they were doing some kind of weird prayer. And her eyes opened up, her head cocked, and she flew across the yard, across the room. At least, I would say at least 50 feet. I mean, just like something threw her. Another time, um, my daughter was upstairs and it was like somebody threw her down the stairs. Something threw her down the stairs. Another time, I was sitting in the car and my daughter was standing on my lap. She was a little baby at the time. And it was really weird because she was standing on my lap, and the next thing I know, she goes flying out the window on her head. She was fine. She survived it. I prayed right away. And that was not only the first time, that was the first time. It happened twice. And when she was a little older, she fell out again. But it was like somebody literally pushed her. So the more I stood against their shit, the more they wanted to, you know, tell everybody not to trust me, stay away from me, on and on and on, okay? So quit saying that it's a conspiracy. Oh, these people with their conspiracies. It's real, people. I've experienced it, okay? First hand. I've seen the ritual abuse. The one kid that I was involved with, like I told you, that I was worried was going to die. They kicked him in the head so hard that he had a concussion and he was throwing up, and they were trying to make him eat his vomit. Okay? So the things you hear about them making people eat their poop and taking on their urine and all this other bestiality, all this stuff is real, okay? I know it's like, oh my God, this can't be real. Somebody's making this crap up. It's Hollywood. No, it's real. They believe this stuff wholeheartedly, and it ushers in a bad energy. There is something evil out there. And I can tell you, I've experienced it many times, okay? I've always been protected from it. But I'm telling you, quit thinking that none of this stuff is real. Start going out there. Do your research. Do your research. These people are not making this shit up. It's real. We live in a wicked, evil world. And if there isn't a turnaround, I guarantee you eventually man will destroy himself like he has in the past. It won't have to be God. They'll do it to themselves because they feed off this evil, the greed, the lust, the perversion, the pedophilia, the molestation. They feed off of this stuff, and it's sick. Okay? The Masons are the ones who are trying to bring about this one world government. Okay? They are dead on trying to make it happen. I mean, they are on it. Okay? They want most of us gone, just enough of us that they feel they need to have around. They want most of us gone. They want a cashless society. Sweden is already cashless. I mean, you go into the store, you go in with a Telzon through the store. You go through it with a Telzon and you put in your things that you're buying. You go to the front register and you plug it into the register, and it automatically takes the money out of your account. The only people that use cash in Sweden are tourists, okay? The people that live there are on a cashless society. And I can tell you, when I was with these men, I was sitting in the house with one of them. The other one had gone for a walk or something. The radio was off. Off. Okay, you hear me? Off. And somehow they turned it on, and this alert came on, like a brrrr, and then talking. And I asked him, I said, what the hell is that? The radio wasn't on. He goes, they know how to turn it on. And I looked at him and said, what? He goes, yeah, they have the technology to just turn it on. Well, they were giving them instructions. So, you know, think of all this stuff, the communism, the control, everything, okay? It goes through these evil, perverted, rich pedophiles, okay? Pedophiles. And do the research. The families' names are out there. And what gets me, people, what gets me is we are so stupid, and me included because I allowed it to happen, that we allow, think about this just for a moment, we allow 8,500 people control 7 billion people, and we don't do a darn thing about what they're doing. They're killing children, they're molesting children, they're raping children, they're doing all this stuff. Go out and research it, okay? It's real. Like I told you, when I was in that cult, a lot of the things that they were doing were sexually based. And like I told you, I feel like the reason why the government doesn't do anything about these cults, because you might say, well, why don't they prosecute them? Because they're not a threat to them, and because they keep people under control, and because they're doing things that they like to do. So why would they stop it? And I feel in some instances they're involved in it 100%. So they may even have groups out there that they know about that they're rooting them on, telling them, yeah, do this and do that, and, you know, experiment with this and whatever. I wouldn't put it past them, okay? I'm at the point in my life right now that I don't trust anybody. Nobody. I don't trust anybody. In the government, in law enforcement, I trust no one. Because this spirit that's on this planet right now is so evil and so dark. It permeates everything. Even the church. Look at what comes out about the Catholic religion. They really focus on the Catholic religion, but I'm telling you, this stuff goes on in every single denomination. Every single church has this darkness in it. So, excuse me, like I said, it isn't a conspiracy, okay? It's not a conspiracy, it's real. Research it. Knowledge is power. Fear is false evidence appearing real, okay? Think about that. Just really sit down and think about that. Knowledge is power. Fear is false evidence appearing real. And I'm going to go back to media. You people that are in the media, the whole media is built on, the whole industry of media is built on illusion. Everything is fake. Have any of you been to Universal Studios or been to a movie set? Everything is created. I told you, we live in a created reality based on other people's perceptions. And the majority of those people's perceptions are evil and disgusting. Okay? So, start focusing on good things. Go within yourself. Look for the answers. Ask within yourself, is this what she's saying? Is this real? Is it for real? Because I have no reason to lie, okay? I have no reason to make this stuff up. I'm a survivor of ritual abuse through a church, like I told you. I'm a survivor of abuse. Since the day I was born, I was a survivor of abuse. It came my way every time I turned around. So, I'm telling you, please listen to me. Please go out and research. Please do your homework. Please start listening to people like Isaac, like Taylor Bryce, like Kathy O'Brien. All these people are telling you the truth. And like I said, I know it's really hard for you to believe that it's true, but I'm telling you, it's true. I've experienced it firsthand. Oh, let me go back real quick before I end this video. I started a foundation, as you know, some of you know anyway, Angel Entertainment Foundation, to help heal children and expose this stuff. And I could never get any support, like I told you. So I gave up. My business partner's name was Candace Blakely. And she created the therapy that I feel is very important, and it works. She told me she was Larry King's cousin, and she grew up around Haight-Ashbury, and she grew up she was a dancer, okay? She was really sick with hep C and liver failure. And I spent 4 months with her before she died. I was in Italy and Thailand with her. And that's a whole nother story in itself. But I spent a lot of time just holding her and comforting her and praying with her because she was in so much pain. And I would rub her back and soothe her and do what I could to get her through her cramps and her pain and everything else she was having. So this one time I was rubbing her back and I noticed that she had 2 very long scars going down her back. And so I asked her what they were, and she said that it got cut by an electrical cord. It wasn't. It was, let me kind of explain. They were about that far apart on her back, and they ran almost the full length of her back. It almost looked like a knife wound, like she had been sliced. And I will tell you that she had a personality disorder. She had, what I could see in the time that I was with her, I could see at least 3 different personalities. And one was a child. And that happens from trauma. She was 69 years old and at times would act like a little child. And that's trauma-based. That's ritual abuse. And like I said, I've had many encounters with people and places where I have seen evidence of this stuff. So I'm just telling you, please listen to what Isaac Cappy is saying. Listen to what Alex Jones says, the people that he interviews. He just interviewed a woman, I think, Julianne Davis, who was in Eyes Wide Shut. She even made comments about this stuff. They're not crazy. They're not making this stuff up. It's real, okay? And I feel by us knowing the truth and putting it out there that somehow we will stop it. I pray we'll be able to stop it. But as you know, sex trafficking and human trafficking and the people that are behind it, it's a multi-billion-dollar business. And they don't want to lose their livelihood, and it's an addiction for them. And you know how people who are addicted, how they behave when they can't have their fix. So, yeah, we're all in danger for bringing this stuff out because, you know, they could come after any of us to try to shut us up. But you know what? So many people have talked about it now, and it's out there, and everybody's starting to get an earful of it. So I don't think at this point doing away with any of us is really going to help, because people are still going to believe it. Especially when you have somebody like me who's a nobody. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not anybody out there in the public eye. So, you know, what do I have to gain by bringing this out and telling you about it? You know? So that's it for part 2. If I come up with anything else that I may have forgotten, I mean, like I said, I'm writing a book. And somehow I'll get around to finishing it, I hope. So, yeah, I think that's it for now. And, I will make another video when I think of some other stuff. Alright, you guys. It was good spending this time with you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.